Your diet is probably poisoning you unless you're disciplined. Your diet is making you weak and of course emotional. And everything, ironically enough, a lot of it, pretty much majority of it, ties back to what you're putting into your body. Your diet shapes your body, shapes your brain, your mind, and your behavior. What you eat doesn't just affect your body. It rewires your hormones, your emotions, your focus, your mentality, everything. And of course, all of this ties back down to your discipline. A bad diet doesn't just create a soft body, but a softer mind at that as well. Think about everyone, like all these normal people, normal, even though 100 years ago or 200 years ago, the shit they do wouldn't be considered normal. Your cravings, or these people's cravings, depression, lack of drive, the 90% of people today, if not 100, 90%, and 90% of the time, it's literally what you are and they are putting into their mouths or your mouth. So it's kind of delusional to, have the same exact diet and be surprised that you're not getting a different result. Maybe it's time to be a bit, I don't want to even say necessary discipline, of course, discipline, but to change your lifestyle so that you're eating a little bit more healthy. Fortunately, we've been psyoped by the modern world into eating these modern processed foods, which inevitably has caused modern weakness. And if you don't know already, hopefully you do, and I don't have to over explain it too much. But if you don't, again, I have a lot of this content on my social media, in my YouTube shorts, Instagram stories, all that. I recommend you guys add me on everything so that you'll get a lot of that stuff that I talk about. But if you don't know, I'll just summarize it really quickly. You're being fed basically poison. There's no way around it. Processed foods, specifically processed sugar, for example, it spikes your insulin. It crashes your mood, right? It gives you these weird mood swings, basically, and it destroys your focus. It gives you this brain fog, and it's probably why you can't focus on tasks. On top of that, you have not just sugar, but you have seed oils, famously. Things like canola, terrible. Soybean oil, estrogenic. Sunflower, again, terrible. All these seed oils, what do? They cause oxidative stress, hormonal imbalance, and of course, inflammation. What's crazy is that if you look at the history of these seed oils, they come from a plant that used to be used for engine lubricant. The same engine lubricant that's in your car is what basically you're like cooking things in. If you took that car engine oil and I took it out of your car and started cooking something for you to eat, would you eat it? Probably not. Hopefully. But the thing is, if you're cooking with these seed oils, that's basically what you're doing. You're basically doing what I just described. And all these inflammations and all this pain, joint pain, or whatever you have, it's because of this. And on top of that, of course, we have like things like junk food, like chips and whatnot, chips and cookies, and who knows what else. Basically, none of this stuff has actual real nutrition. People look at calories, which is just so dumb at this point. You should not just be looking at calories. I'm not saying calories have no effect. Well, what's more important is the ingredients. These junk foods are just basically dopamine traps, if you will. And I made a very extensive video on how I basically quit junk food myself, and you could hopefully quit junk food as well. Now, The problem with all these foods that I mentioned is that why are they bad for you? Of course, I mentioned the harms, but it's basically because they have artificial ingredients, additives, and colors. Red 40, hopefully you've heard of, terrible for you. Like blue 6, yellow 5, and all that. These are basically made in labs by these sinister, evil scientists, not in nature. And literally, if you think about it, why is it that testosterone is so low? And all these health problems, obesity, all this stuff, why do you think that exists? Because of that. Because of these artificially lab grown foods. These foods were literally never eaten by your ancestors. Yet people, like I said, wonder why depression and obesity and weaknesses and all these diseases are at an all-time high. These foods numb your spirit and basically dull your instincts. That's by design, if we're being honest here. That's how sinister and evil these people are. At the end of the day, if you don't care about what goes into your mouth and what you eat, then why should anyone really respect you at all? You're basically disrespecting yourself, and then you'll be like mad that someone else, says something to you. And that's the problem. That's why, a bad diet is super, of course, bad for you. Because of all these problems that it causes. So what should you do instead? Is probably your question. How do I get a good diet? Is your question. And what will a good diet do for me? Again, great questions. A good diet will give you, of course, higher testosterone. Will give you no real brain fog, clarity, strength, and you'll feel more at peace, basically. So what should you include in your good diet? And again, I don't want to give you you know a cookie cutter. Everyone should eat this. Of course, take some of what I'm saying. Hopefully, you take a good chunk of it, and then you could add some stuff to it as well. There's other foods that I have all over that I talk about the benefits of on my YouTube shorts, on my Instagram stories, all this, right? Even my posts that I do on my other social medias. I recommend add me on there so that you guys can get these benefits. But starting off the bat, grass-fed Zabiya halal meats. And I made a video about benefits of Zabiya halal. Again, check out that video. Is Zabiya halal better for you? Is it really better for you? I think that's the title of the video. Check it out. Raw milk, of course. If you don't know the benefits of raw milk, a good source of basically all the nutrients that you're getting are being zapped away by pasteurization. But on top of that, they put these artificial chemicals in there that are basically estrogenic. And then on top of that, they put synthetic vitamin D in the milk. Sometimes you look at it, it says milk, and it says comma vitamin D. And that vitamin D is terrible for you, terrible for your health. Synthetic form, and it causes all these problems. I'll probably make a video on that as well. So get raw milk if you can. If you can't get raw milk, at the minimum, get organic milk that doesn't have that synthetic vitamin D, and it doesn't have any like estrogenic chemicals and all that. Try your best to get it, but raw milk is the way to go. Raw honey, of course, is also very good. Again, very simple. You can get that as well. Make sure it's, of course, sourced properly. Everything in a glass jar, ideally. Fruits, of course, something ideally. If you can get berries, like blueberries, for example, you want to get wild berries, ideally. If you can't get that, get organic. That's the next best thing. Frozen fruits are actually not that bad, in my honest opinion. They're actually even better in some cases, because it can be wild berries. Dates are really good. Pomegranates, of course, amazing. Get, good source of fruits. Ideally, you want to get them without any pesticides in them. Of course, there's animal fats. So if you can get like a Zebia halal beef tallow, ghee is good too. Butter, again, make sure that the butter is good, grass-fed butter. Then of course, you add your organic eggs. Of course, there's so many benefits to eggs. It's basically what I eat pretty much every day. Liver, if you can get, again, grass-fed. Bone broth is, of course, really good for you. And for the water, try to get a reverse osmosis water system if you can. And of course, put minerals in there. And with salt, a good type of salt. It could be good type of salt. Spring salt is probably your best way to go. But the other salts there are, just do your research. I'll probably make videos on it. The point is, all these foods that I just mentioned, a clean, natural diet, what does that do for you? Amplifies who you are. Amplifies basically the good in you. Amplifies, in the case of men, masculinity. In the case of women, femininity. But it gives you energy. It gives you drive. And it gives you that extra discipline, motivation, whatever you want to call it, aggression, all in a controlled, useful manner. You become less reactive and more focused, less emotional and more grounded. I honestly believe that's probably why when you read these Stoic books or any books that's any about any figure in history where they were more collective and calm, and actually thinking about things, I think diet because again processed foods didn't exist back then, so they were more in tune with their emotions and not sporadic. And on top of that, besides the health benefits that that a good diet gives you, the reason why diet matters beyond just the physical health. Diet is basically a spiritual discipline. It's self-control. It teaches you to choose long-term strength over short-term pleasure. If your diet is weak, your discipline will be weak. If your diet is strong, your discipline will be strong. If you can't control what your appetite is, you can't control your destiny. But if you can control your diet, you can control your destiny. And that's why your diet is a reflection of who you are at the end of the day. And like in my previous videos, I think I mentioned there's that one quote, you fall to the level of your standard. And if your standard for your diet is very poor, then your standard for living will of course be very poor. At the end of the day though, I understand, not everyone can have the budget to have an amazing diet. I'm not saying eat caviar every single day. But at the same time, if you're eating out, you're eating basically shit food every day, then how can you can't have it like both ways where, you're complaining about, oh, this is beyond my budget. And I give you advice, and I've done this so many times where I get, this is what you should eat. And look, just keep it simple, and you can't complain about it both. You can't say I have the small budget, and then at the same time complain that you have to eat the same thing every day. It's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways, especially if your budget is not that high. And I'll be honest with you, I eat relatively the same stuff every day almost. There are exceptions. Sure, maybe one day I might not, but it's still like healthy. Point is. And at the end of the day, man, stop coping. I made a longer video on this. Probably something you should check out. Your copes will destroy you, is the title of the video. And it's true, your copes will destroy you. So, this is why I think, of course, you should subscribe to the channel, not just because to subscribe, but for your own benefit. At the end of the day, that's what's important here. For your own benefit. Because I talk about health and everything on here. the mind, the body, spirit, all of that. And of course, all my everything is down in the description below. Because I'll have Instagram stories and whatnot, and of course YouTube Shorts, posts of different kinds for the benefit of mankind. So, and and of course all of that of course is free. But if you want, so let's say you're still like overloaded with knowledge or whatever, and it's very hard for you to decide what you need to specifically work on, you're more than welcome to join my Patreon and get my direct one-to-one help. It's completely fine at the end of the day. At the end of the day, and again, that's all in the description below. You can check it out. You can join. Isn't that you like it? I'll do my best to try and help you. If you're serious about it, I'll do my best to try and help you. Whether it's your budget or anything, I'll take everything into account. But before we end off, well, what do I think you should do when it comes to diet? Eat to conquer, not to cope. Your diet isn't just necessarily just to fill your stomach. Yes, that's a part of it. But stop eating like a lab rat and start eating like a warrior. Food is supposed to be your fuel for your energy. And it's not meant to be this lustful thing that we've made it out to be that has to taste amazing all the time. I'm not saying eat, trash food that tastes like dog shit. I'm not saying that. Food is not really meant to be like some kind of therapy of lust. It's meant to just fuel you. That's literally all food is. Back back in ancient times, especially before we have extravagant cities and stuff like that. And when people would hunt, think about this. When you hunt an animal, wouldn't it be faster just to eat the animal right there, then and there? There was there. I mean, I'm not saying they probably didn't cook the meat. They probably didn't. And I'm not saying you have to go to that extreme of raw meat. That's another thing. But my point is that for most of human history, there was no ultra focus on taste to the point that we have today. It has to taste good. It has to taste like this amazing strawberry shortcake. Right? Like, it doesn't have to, be cookies and cream and all this stuff. And even some of the protein shakes I see nowadays, it's like cookies and cream and bubblegum something. It's like, bro, you kind of like lost yourself in the sauce. Now you're trying to make something taste good at the cost of it being detrimental to your health. And the thing is, I remember when, again, I said this in my video, the junk food thing, how to quit junk food forever, how I quit junk food forever. Watch that video. And I said in that video, I'll summarize it. When I was in the process of giving up junk food, whenever I would go back to eating junk food, it didn't even taste good because I had been eating healthy for so long, and then I ate, like, let's say a bag of chips. These jalapeno chips, they used to taste amazing, and then because I gave it up for so long, they started tasting like bad, and then I started feeling upset in my stomach too. And I was like, man, if this is what junk food does to you at the cost of taste, then really it's not worth it. It gives you all these problems, Alzheimer's, cancer, all this stuff. Terrible for your health. Then it's not really worth it for you. You don't want to let these corporations of these food companies design your mind through your stomach. Because again, it's meant to be addictive. That's how they've designed it. These evil people have designed it that way. So that's why it's really important for you guys to fix your diet. And by fixing your diet, you're going to fix your mind, you're going to fix your body, of course, and you're going to fix, hopefully, your future as well. But hopefully I've made my point very clear in this video. And do all that YouTube stuff, like and subscribe. Until next time, until we meet again.